Hi guys, welcome to my Q&A with Simon Loong, the founder of WeLab. He has 43 million users on his channel. He's one of the most famous fintech companies, and he's going to tell you a thing or two about how to make your business work. Simon, welcome. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Well, I've had quite a lot of questions come in. People want to pick your brain. And the first question I've got for you is, what is a good company culture and how do you build it?
I think that's a very important subject, and over the years we've been trying to perfect it as well, right? I think a good company, the start of company culture is unspoken norm of organization, meaning when you see your colleagues behaving the right way, you repeat the same behavior. That's a culture. When you see people throwing rubbish, you follow throwing rubbish on the floor. That's a bad culture. I think culture is unspoken norm, and what you need to build is actually an aligned and unified culture across where it drives people to bring them from success to success. I think that's very, very important, right? And I think we first started thinking about the importance of it, right, when we had the second office in China. We have one office in Hong Kong, a second office in China. We feel that it's important that when the two groups of people meet, they feel that they work for the same company rather than they just feel like strangers, right? And I think for a startup, a very important part of the culture, there are many important pieces of the culture. I think one very important piece is everyone feels that it is their own responsibility. So we have this name called Never My Job. So there's something that's called Never My Job in our organization, where I say, okay, if you see a rubbish on the floor, I'll pick it up, even as a CEO. If the aircon is broken, our CFO will go and fix it. And that mentality extends beyond office chores. It goes into like fixing a PowerPoint. It goes into solving a problem that belongs to a different team. It belongs to helping each other. I think that is the togetherness and being able to showcase that it's extremely important. It is so important that we have actually written a culture book recently. You go to our website and you can take a look at it. It's almost 90 pages, around 14 culture values that we have written it for existing employees, for new employees, and just for people who are just interested in how we work at WeLab. In particular, for new employees, we wrote it because we want people to read it and to see whether this is the right company they want to work for. If they read it, they feel that, oh, I don't want to work in a company like that. That's great. That's called self-selection. So I think it's really important. Every company is worth spending time on it.
Great insight. We'll make sure we'll put the link to Simon's story in the story in this video for you guys. I'm actually using those 14 points that Simon's written out for my own company. Really useful ways to build culture. I built 18 companies, so I know a thing about culture, but I learned quite a lot by reading Simon's article. So thanks for sharing that, Simon. So another question I've had in that I also find complicated and hard to get right is some people out there asking how to raise money. Do you have any tips when raising money?
So fundraising is probably one of the most important and difficult thing. I really hate it as an entrepreneur. I think I'm an entrepreneur who likes to like build something rather than fundraise. But it's a necessary evil. It's unfortunately necessary evil unless you have all the capital you need from your own pocket, right? I think there are many ways to look at it. I think in different round, it doesn't get easier. By the way, it gets increasingly more difficult. I thought when I raised C round was difficult, and when we're raising C round, wow, it's like incredibly difficult because at different stage, a different set of investors, they look for different things, and the investors, what they look for when the company is bigger and bigger and bigger, right? It's completely different. After we hit unicorn status, right? What investors look at, it's even more complicated, governance and stuff like that, right? I think the key is you need to do your homework. Depending on the stage of your company, you reach out to the right set of investors. Meaning, if you're raising a seed round, don't go to someone who normally do growth stage. It's just a waste of time. Investors may say, yeah, fine, I would love to hear a story because I mean that's their job, right? But you, as an entrepreneur, you have to be efficient in terms of how you target, right? So you do need to do your homework and make sure you pitch to the right set of investors. I think the second piece of advice, as we always given to new entrepreneurs, is no means no. Yes also means no. When an investor say no, it probably means no, they're not interested. So don't keep on calling them, and hopefully they will change their mind. And even when investors say yes, it might also potentially means no. Some investors are just a little bit shy or embarrassed to say no, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm very interested. Can I see more of this?" So So you just don't get emotionally invested in a particular lead. Just remember, no means no. Yes, also sometimes means no.
Right. It's interesting because I think sometimes there's a perception that once you've raised a seed round, you had Sequoia come in to invest in you, that you just assume it's going to get easier. There's a misconception out there that once you've got that big gun in there supporting you, that's going to just automatically make the next round easier, but it's not true.
It is not true.
Interesting, yeah. And I think your point about research is really valid. A lot of people ping me, for example, and I still invest in quite a few startups, but sometimes they're pitching me something that, for example, isn't my core value. They're pitching me something I don't want to get behind, but they haven't done any research on me to find out what my core values are before asking me if I want to invest in something that's not me. But they'll keep going even when I've said no, which is annoying. Yeah. And so I had a question here, and of course it's very topical at the moment, so everyone's going to be asking about this. I've tried to avoid this subject as much as I can, but it's there, the coronavirus, and how do you manage a downturn and this bad luck that we're being hit by? How do you survive?
So it's obviously extremely unfortunate that the world is going through this. So right now, WeLab operates in 3 markets: Mainland China, Hong Kong, and Indonesia. I don't know whether we had good luck or bad luck that the first 2 markets got hit by the coronavirus since January and February, and then now it's the rest of the world. Indonesia just got hit recently. So I think a couple of things, right? And we always think about our employees first, right? I think the first thing is inevitably a lot of companies are going to start this work from home arrangement. I think it's very important to get your staff ready, prepared, emotionally and technologically. Emotionally prepared as in they know they're working from home. It is not like sending an email out on a weekend. It is very different. It's about spending 8 straight hours at your dining table working, right? Not by choice saying, I'm going to walk the dog afterwards. It's not like that, right? So getting them emotionally prepared. And the other thing is getting them technologically prepared. I remember when our China office, we have around 600 employees, we actually trained them to work from home 2-3 days before they start the first day at going back to work after Chinese New Year. We couriered almost 8 to 10% of their laptops back to their hometown so that they can efficiently work from home and test the VPN secure connection, so that on the day itself there's no anxiety about not being able to connect and talk to your staff, right? And we keep on doing that, and we actually wrote an email to all the employees about how to work from home effectively. We also shared that on LinkedIn too, right? And the other side of it is more the business side. The first side was employee, and then the business side, right? We very much in the financial, the lending business. I think the management team got together on the first day. Basically, we said, okay, you don't have to be a hero at this down cycle. You just have to survive and then live to die another day. You don't have to be a hero. So we immediately said, okay, we need to tighten credit policies. And we also remember one thing, right? Companies fail. Bankrupt companies fail usually because of 2 reasons. They run out of cash or the government shut them down. I mean, the government is not going to shut you down. Cash is the most important thing. Cash burn, lowering cash burn, and then look at when do you think you can raise capital again. In this current scenario, right, we basically gave all the teams a stress test. There's a scenario where I say, okay, what if the capital market is not going to be available for a company our scale, our size, from now until, for example, end of the year or end of next year, whatever it is, right? How can you relook at the whole business model, cash burn, in a way that you cannot tap the capital market again? You have to use your own retained earnings and the capital you have on hand. How do you become cash neutral and everything? So we actually readjust everything, the whole structure and everything, by giving people this particular stress scenario.
I think that's a really good tip. I think a lot of people don't manage their cash flow well during a tough moment. Actually, I had the opposite experience. We were both in Hong Kong during SARS. I remember back then that was kind of a crazy time. But a lot of people were laying off staff, and we actually did the opposite. When those people got laid off, we hired them. But we just because we kept our costs under control, we had a buffer, but we saw an opportunity. There's also that element, isn't there? There's fortune favors the brave almost. So there's a combination of manage your cash flow, keep your costs under control, but there's also an opportunity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we always remind ourselves, I think it has to be a balance, right? So after you do all the cost cutting exercise, you go back to the same people and say, okay, what is the opportunity in this current scenario? Is it going to be hiring? Is it M&A? When your competitors disappear, what can you do to take over the market share? So we actually went through both exercise, the risk and the opportunity itself, right? Get people mentally, you get your leaders mentally balanced as well. You don't want to get them, you're a fast growing company. You don't want to get them to a mindset where they're only thinking about cost cutting, the company is going to go down on enough cash. You need to inspire them to the growth and what would the growth look like as well. So that's a good exercise.
Simon, thank you so much for answering our listeners' questions and giving us your insights and wisdom. I'd like to thank you on behalf of the audience and myself for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
Look forward to seeing you in London very soon.
Thank you. I hope so too.